here, baby, waiting for you. I'm stuck here, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck here, baby, waiting for you. Oh, I'm stuck here, baby, waiting for you. I'm stuck here, I don't know what to do.
Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new here, thanks so much for joining. My name is Misty, and today I am bringing you another episode of our Willows Legacy Challenge. If you are not part of the Raven family, but you want to be part of the Raven family, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you are notified when new things go live on the channel. As you can see, we are just here with Rayne and her family, and she is just dealing with a little bit of parenting because we have Xavier here who has decided to destroy the ground with some powdered sugar and some chocolate, and she's like, no sir, we don't do that around here, so you're gonna need to clean that shit up right away. And while you're at it, we just don't do that. We don't do that at all. It's just me and all of you guys, and I'm a little bit outnumbered, and so I'm gonna need you to be a big guy and get out your little mop and swiffer that up. So he's just gonna go ahead and clean that up, and she is just dealing with some of her plants here. As you can see, she is really trying to, get on with her life. Icky and sticky. Emmett is really hoping nobody sees the mess he made on his sheets. Oh no, guys, he is so very embarrassed. Oh, Emmett, you poor doll. Puberty is such a bitch, isn't it? I mean, it really is. The poor thing. So he is just gonna head himself up to the bathroom and get himself cleaned up here and go and probably just like look at himself in the mirror and be like, Emmett, what the hell, man? And it happens to the best of you guys. It is gonna be okay. We are just going to go ahead and get some laundry going here because obviously there are some sheets now that need to be washed. But she is going to go ahead and get some things going. Ray is like, I will get some laundry going. It's not a big deal. So as you can see, everyone in the house is just going ahead and kind of dealing with some mundane things in the home and dealing with their own needs and things of that nature, which we love. Everyone has finally gotten over, for the most part, Clay and the mourning cycle. We are just waiting to hear about the funeral. We did get a call that on Sunday we will be having the actual funeral itself, and so they're just kind of biding their time, waiting to hear from the funeral director that it is actually time to go ahead and show up for the actual service itself, and then we can actually lay Clay to rest finally in his final resting place, and we'll go and we'll have that service. As you can see, Ray is kind of letting out a little bit of her aggression about this. They aren't, moping around. They aren't really, crying and sad and bent out of shape. But it is still, a solemn thing that you have to do is go and lay your dad to rest in his final resting place. So I'm sure they all still have, negative and sad feelings about that. But overall, everyone has finally gotten to a place where they have kind of moved on and they're able to move on with their life. Now, that being said, Ray has also gotten accepted into university, so we are going to go ahead and work on some of her projects today. She's going to work on this presentation. She needs to capture some information, so she's going to go ahead and work on that. The other kids are just going to go ahead and it looks like Xavier is going to practice a little bit of violin. Dear God, our ears are going to love that. But they are just kind of dealing with whatever it is that they kind of want to deal with on this Saturday. It is a beautiful hot summer day, and as you can see, Rayne here is just letting Emmett know, yes, we did hear from the funeral director, it's going to be tomorrow. And he's like, okay, well, in the meantime, I'm going to handle up on some plants because that is what Emmett does now. Emmett and Rayne are constantly out in the garden. And to be completely honest, I've seen Autumn out here a lot as well. She has really taken a liking to the garden as well. So those three have really taken a liking to dealing with harvesting the plants and tending to the garden. And so they're keeping that going. It's taking the three of them to keep that garden going. And mainly that's just because Rayne is getting on up in years, and she can't really tend to it by herself anymore and keep it going. So it is taking the three of them to manage the land. So as you can see, we just have everybody kind of dealing with themselves and their own, wants and desires for the day. Tegan was doing a little bit of exercising. Xavier's doing a little bit of violin playing. Poorly, very poorly, but he's trying, guys. He's trying to get that skill up, and it is getting him some fun as well. I don't think that project is going to work. It's very poor quality. You're gonna have to refine that, sweet girl, because Ray, that right there is gonna get you a piss poor grade, and that is just not going to work. And so Rayne has just come out and she's like, I don't think that is going to work with that presentation. I really think that you need to work a little bit harder. And she's like, I think you're right. If Dad were here, he would really hate the fact that this project looks like this. And she's like, Ray, I really think that it's not healthy for you to constantly think about your dad when you do these kind of things. I think that you need to look at it like your dad would be so proud of you that you're in university in the first place. And she's like, just let me think about Dad however I think about Dad. And she's like, fine, Ray, fine. So as you can see, Emmett and Tegan are really close. Emmett has definitely taken the role of man of the house here, and so he should, considering he is the heir. But he is definitely, as he is the oldest and the male in the house here, he is definitely the one that all of the kids come to, and they come and they talk to him. And so the girls are just coming to him and they're like, Mom told us that we have to go to the funeral service. And he's like, yes, we do have to do that, guys. We have to go and we have to pay our respects and, go tell Dad his, final goodbyes. And they're, everybody I think is a little bit out of shape about the fact that we have to do that. I think they had finally gotten to a place where their sadness was gone, and so everybody's a little nervous about having to go to the funeral service and say their goodbyes and have to go through being sad all over again. But Emmett is just trying to explain to them that, this is something that everybody has to go through, and of course, Ray's jumping in, and she's like, why are you guys being like that? This is your dad. This is Dad. We're going. Like, I don't know why you're acting like this. We're going. And Tegan's like, we weren't even talking to you. And she's like, you may not be talking to me, but I'm the oldest in this house, and I'm telling you we're going, whether you want to whether you like it or not, you're going. And she's like, I don't know why you have to be so mean. We're just not wanting to be sad anymore. We've spent enough time crying over Dad. Why do we have to go and get sad all over again? And she's like, this is what you do. You go as a family, you show up, you have a funeral service, you pay your respects to Dad, you let people that are friends of Dad's pay their respects to you, and then we put him where he needs to be for his final resting place. We're going. And Tegan's like, I'm not talking to you anymore, and she walks off. So there is a lot of tension in the house right now about this, and as you can see, she has finally finished. Oh, dang, pin to the hand. Oh, that sucks, Ray, that sucks. But she's finally finished this project. She's going to have Rayne come on down and have another look at it. This is typically something she would have done with Clay, but Clay's not around anymore, so she's going to have Rayne come and take a look at it, and she's just going to say, what do you think of my presentation? Do you think that it's good enough? Do you think that it's going to get me a good grade? I think it's pretty excellent quality, Mom. I worked really, really hard on it. And Rayne's like, honey, I think it looks great. I think it looks 20 times better than it did in the beginning. And she's like, only 20? And she's like, I'm kidding, honey. It's excellent. It's excellent quality. I think it's going to get you great grades. I think that, you should do a practice presentation. And look, why don't you go ahead and practice presenting it to me, and it'll be great. And she's like, okay. And she's like, all right, we're going to do a quick practice and run through. And then, yeah, you're right. I can totally do that. And she's like, just practice presenting it, and then I think it'll be perfect. You'll feel confident about it, and it'll be lovely. And she's like, well, where are you going? And she's like, I can look at my plants while you do it. I can hear you from over here. And she's like, okay, I'm going to practice right now presenting it. And then she's just presenting about these cells, and she's talking all about it, and she's like, the more she speaks on it, the more she's kind of getting more and more confident about it. And she's like, you're right, this is gonna be a breeze. I feel so great about this. And of course, Emmett is still over here just giving hugs out to all the kids. And he's like, sis, that sounds actually really great. I think you're going to nail that. And she's like, really? And he's like, yeah, I do. Like, I think you're super prepared. I don't think that you have anything to worry about. And she's like, that makes me feel so much better. Thank you so much, Emmett. Like, I was really nervous about it, but if you think that it's going to be good, then that makes me feel so much better. And then she starts yelling at Xavier, and he's like, what are you yelling at me about? Like, I don't understand why you're constantly being so mean to everyone. And she's like, I'm just so frustrated with you kids and everyone not wanting to go and deal with Dad's funeral. We're going. Everyone keeps making these excuses about why nobody wants to go. And Xavier's like, it's not that we don't want to go. It's just none of us want to be sad anymore. You know, we all had to go through our grieving process, and you didn't deal with your feelings. We already dealt with all of our feelings. And now you are like, oh, we all have to go, but we all have already dealt with all of this. You ignored how you felt. And she's like, okay, well, that's not really fair. And Emmett's like, you know, he's right? We already grieved. We already said our goodbyes. Him and Tegan, like, they're so sweet together. But, you know, all of the rest of the family did mourn. And they did go through that process while she was drinking and getting high and ignoring her feelings, and they don't want to feel sad again. And she is upset because none of them want to go and get sad again. And she's like, well, why does no one want to go and pay their respects to Dad? And it's not that they don't want to go. They just don't want to be sad anymore. They just don't want to feel that sadness again, all over again. So she is really frustrated. She's being really mean to all of the kids, but she's going to go ahead and come over here, and she's going to apologize to Xavier for being a jerk. So we're going to give him a smooth apology. Go back down here, Ray, and give him an apology. And she's going to just apologize for being that way because, you know, Emmett kind of made some sense about what he said, and also Xavier as well. And so they've gained a sentiment here, and he's like, you're so fun to be around. I don't know that I would agree with that, but that's what they said. So that is perfect for everyone. And as you can see, Rayne is just out here staring at all the plants, and she's thinking back to when she first put out all these little plants, and she's like, this garden has come so far. And she's just kind of reminiscing on her past and how far she's come and how far this land has come. And, you know, if you think about it, she's probably reminiscing on just her life in general, because she is really getting on up there in age, and she is missing Clay, and she realizes that she is running out of time as well. And Emmett out here is like, this is all soon going to be mine. Like, what am I going to do with all of this? What am I going to do with myself? And what am I going to do with this land? And what do I see for my future here? Like, I know that this is all about to be mine. And do I want to follow in Mom's footsteps? I don't want a bakery. She's already sold the bakery. So that's no longer an issue, but what am I going to do with all of these plants? Like, am I going to have a garden? Am I going to become a farmer? Am I going to, like, what am I going to do? So he's trying to figure out what he wants to do for his future, and that's where you guys come in. You guys need to let me know, what do you think that Emmett should do for his future? What do you think that Emmett should do as far as his aspiration? So if you could, in the comments below, let me know what you think that he should do for a career as a young adult, because Emmett is going to be aging up to a young adult soon. And so if you could give me some careers for Emmett for the future, that would be great. And we will put it on a wheel and we will spin it just like we did for Rayne. And we will go ahead when he becomes a young adult, and we will get him into a career after we spin that wheel. And yeah, we will be doing that very soon, because he has a birthday coming up quite soon. But he's trying to figure out what he wants to do with his life, and he's talking to his mom, and he's like, you know, Mom, I don't really know what I'm going to do with my future just yet, and I'm worried that I'm going to soil the legacy. And she's like, Emmett, I just want you to be happy. We've got all this money that we're going to be leaving you, and this land, and it's yours to do with whatever you wish. We just want you to be happy. Your dad and I just want you to do whatever it is that you love here. So She is just once again heading out to go check on all her plants. There's nothing to do out here. She literally has nothing to do out here. All of the plants have been tended to. She is just being nostalgic, really. We are going to go ahead and get her in here in the kitchen. She is going to go ahead and cook up some supper, and she is in here just whipping up some food. We know that Rayne loves to cook, so she's just in here doing that. And then we are going to just check in with the rest of the kids. Some of them are having themselves a nap. They were dealing with some needs. Looks like Xavier went ahead and helped himself to some food because he was hungry and couldn't wait, which is absolutely fine. Some of them go ahead and eat when they're hungry. Majority of them actually just eat when they're hungry. But she is going to go ahead and, like I said, just make this food, and at least it will be available whenever they are hungry. Sometimes that's really what we just do. We just make sure there is food available in the fridge for whenever anyone is hungry and ready to eat. They don't necessarily sit down and eat as a family here in this family. For whatever reason, they just kind of eat whenever they're hungry. So that is what she's doing, is just making sure that there is food available. And Xavier is just in here asking for some advice. As you can see, he is talking to her about the fact that, you know, tomorrow is the funeral and he is nervous about it. And she's just explaining that there's nothing to be nervous about. There isn't any reason to be feeling nervous, that, you know, it's going to be just a quick little service and then they will go lay Pop to rest. And after that, obviously, they'll come back home. And he's like, okay, that sounds good. And as you can see, Ray is feeling kind of frustrated about the whole situation. She's energized, but she's kind of like, I'm done dealing with my family. So she is inviting over her boyfriend. She's like, I just need a little bit of time away from my family and I need to spend some time with Otis. So she's invited over her boyfriend, and so she's gonna have him come on over, and she's like, I just want some alone time with the boyfriend. And so she is going to have a little bit of time with him. And now everyone is just going ahead and grabbing themselves some food, and it looks like Uncle Jacob has come over to visit. So we will go ahead and invite him in so that he can just come ahead in and visit for a little while. He likes to pop in, as we know, and we love that for him. We love that for us. He's just like, hey sis, how are you? And she's like, I'm doing good, Jacob. It's been a couple of days since we've seen you. And he's like, yeah, I've been busy around the house, and then the hospital was slammed. And she's like, oh my goodness, I can only imagine. He's like, yeah, but how are you doing? How are you holding up? And she's like, I'm fine. You know, the funeral's tomorrow. And he's like, yeah, I heard. And she's like, are you going to be there? And he's like, of course I'm going to be there. I wouldn't miss it for the world. You know I loved Clay. And she's like, okay, well, I really appreciate that. And he's like, well, how are you and the kids? And she's like, we're doing pretty good. You know, we can't complain. And he's like, okay, well, I just wanted to stop in and check on you guys, you know, just make sure everything's okay. And of course, Ray here is just grabbing herself a quick bite to eat before she meets up with Otis. And she is just going to meet Otis. He has shown up at the house. He is just out on the outskirts of the land here. But look how beautiful our farm is. Well, our land, I guess I should say. It's not really a farm. So as you can see, she has decided that she wants to go ahead and have a little bit of woohoo with Otis. She's feeling like she is a little bit keyed up, a little bit frustrated, and she's feeling like if she has a little bit of a woohoo with her boyfriend, that will make her feel a little bit better. She's like, I am tense and I'm frustrated. I'm irritated with my family and the fact that nobody understands where I'm coming from with the funeral and my dad. And I just want these feelings to go away. And generally, she would have turned to weed and alcohol, but this time she's turning to the woohoos. And so she is going to run out here and she's going to meet Otis and she's going to say, hi, honey, thanks for coming over. And he's like, hey, babe.
Bob Nadizi.
And she's like, I am so glad to see you and I would really, really appreciate it if you could help me. Oh, well, happy birthday. I would really appreciate it if you could help me keep my mind off of just some frustrating things that are going on. I could use a little bit of stress relief. And he's like, I would be absolutely happy to do that. And she's like, awesome. That makes my day. You have no idea how much that makes my day. So we are just going to speed through here and let them get to the house here. And then let them go ahead and have themselves a little bit of a woohoo. Let's just speed this up because they run really slow. Okay. So now that they are back to the house, they're just going to go ahead and go upstairs and go woohoo. Emmett here is about to wee himself, and looks like Xavier and Tegan are in here and they are entertaining their Uncle Jacob, or maybe he's entertaining them. But they're like, are you going to go to the funeral? And he's like, of course I am. And they're like, we don't understand what this funeral business is about. And he's like, well, the funeral is a time and a place for you guys to go so that you can, oh my God, they kicked her mom out of bed so they could use her bed. That is friggin' ridiculous. Anyhow, what is with her and doing it in her mom's bed? I can't believe that girl. I really can't believe her. Oh my God. Anyway, he's like, it's a time for people that loved Clay to come and tell you that they're sorry that you've lost them, and for you to tell them that you're sorry that they've lost him as well. It's a time for everyone that loved Clay to come together and to share memories about Clay with one another and to be there for one another and provide strength. And they're like, oh, and he's like, it's just a time to celebrate his life. And they're like, oh, and he's like, so there's nothing really scary about it. It's just a nice gesture of celebrating one's life and telling them a final goodbye. And they're like, okay. He's like, and sometimes it can be sad, but it's also very healing. And they're like, okay. And he's like, so it's good that we're doing this. And it's good for you guys, and it's good for other people as well. And they're like, okay. So we are finally done with the woohoos here, and she's gone straight to gaming, and so that's great. It says the funeral service is today at 5 p.m., so we will need to plan our outfit at the mirror closet or dresser. Okay, so now that you are finally done woohooing and whatever, you can go ahead and leave, and I'm going to be able to go ahead and get Rayne into her actual bed so she can get in some sleep, because that was just rude. I can't believe you guys kicked her out. And so she has decided she's going to go ahead and go downstairs, and now she's going to have a drink. So she was like, okay, I had a woohoo, and that perfectly, relaxed me. It was pregnancy-free woohooing. One of the Sims involved in that latest woohoo session was on a hormone, because she's on birth control. So pregnancy-free woohooing. Yay. And so now she's like, yay, that was great. Now I need a drink. So now she's having herself a glass of wine to relax. And so now she's gone ahead and got herself drunk. So now she's drunk. So even though she has been trying really hard to not mask her feelings, and she wasn't partaking in the weed, only because she's not in high school anymore, so she has no way to get it. Let's be real. Now she's taken to drinking, and so now she's drunk, and she is still masking, guys. She is still covering up how she's feeling. And, it's the day of the funeral. It is 1 o'clock in the morning, and now she is drunk. And she is, Tegan's sitting here trying to talk to her and, explain to her, hey, I talked to Uncle Jacob, and he explained to me about the funeral, and she just walks away, whatever, I don't care. And so, you know what? She's like, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to clean. This is not what's important right now. Tegan was trying to talk to you, and you're drunk, and you need to talk to her, and instead you're just walking away and ignoring people because you're you, Ray, you're you. And she's like, whatever, I'm gonna do some cleaning of the house. I am sufficiently inebriated. I've had some pleasant woohoos, and my stress level is now perfectly fine. I have no stress. I'm feeling quite confident now. I am in a great mood. Everything is peachy keen. And I am fantastic. So yeah, let's do some chores. Let's get some shit done. This is awesome. So she is officially masking everything. It's the day of the funeral. You would think that she would be in a bit of a somber mood, but she's not allowing herself to feel any of those things because she is right back to her old tricks again. Tegan is like, I was trying to talk to you. I was trying to tell you something. And there she goes again, walking off. So she's like, I am just going to go ahead and go to bed. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Everyone really should go to bed. You guys all go to bed, and I will catch you in the morning. Okay, it is the next morning, and as you can see, everyone is here gathered in the kitchen. They are just having themselves something to eat. Well, maybe not everyone. It does look like, oh, here they come. Everyone is just getting themselves a bite to eat this morning. They are going ahead and all sitting down for the first time in a very long time, if maybe ever, all sitting down at the table at the same time to eat themselves some breakfast, which is amazing. And they are all having a conversation. It is the day of the funeral, as we know. They all have a little bit of nerves about how they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to expect. The children have never been to a funeral before. This is the first person they've ever lost. They don't know what to expect. I mean, they have lost their grandparents when they were younger, but they don't remember that because they were all babies. Some of them weren't even born yet. And when the grandparents passed away, we didn't go to their funeral. So, yeah. So there's that. Because they weren't really close. If you remember, Rayne had a very strained relationship with her parents, and the funeral, we didn't go to that funeral. They had a relationship with her parents that was just really strained, and she just didn't feel like going to that funeral with her parents, even though it was really sad when we lost her parents, and obviously it was her parents. She just didn't feel like she needed to go. They didn't approve of her or her lifestyle. They didn't approve of her having children out of wedlock. They just didn't approve of her in general, and so she didn't go. That being said, this is really their first true loss, and so it is their first funeral, and so everyone is a little nervous, but you know, it is what it is, and everyone is trying to make the best of it. And Rayne is sitting here like, I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm gonna cook. And so she's gonna get herself into the kitchen, and she's going to make some food, because in her times of stress, that is what Rayne does, is Rayne cooks. Her daughter clearly does drugs and sex and alcohol, and Rayne cooks and bakes and does really wholesome things like that. So it's very polar opposite. So she's gonna go in there, and she's gonna whip up some food for her family so that she can have some comfort food on hand, because Emmett is just going to set the table so that it is ready. And as you can see, Autumn is outside tending to the garden, because since everyone else is busy doing other things, she's like, okay, it's my turn. Tegan is just trying to have a conversation with Ray, but Ray has once again walked away uninterested. As you will notice, Ray is really struggling with being a good big sister. For whatever reason, she has a really hard time being there for the kids, and I think that is going to make it really difficult once Rayne is gone from our family. When she finally passes away, I think it's going to be a really different dynamic in this house, because Ray is going to be our oldest, and she's going to be the one taking care of this family, and she sucks at it, to be completely honest. I mean, yeah, sure, she cooks and she can clean, but as far as emotionally, she sucks. She sucks at taking care of these kids. She's mean to them. She doesn't listen to them. And she, overall, she can really be a jerk to them. And I think that is going to be a really hard dynamic for everyone to kind of deal with, because they're used to Rayne. And Rayne is very domestic, very lovable, very always present. And then there's Ray, who is mean and short-tempered and mischievous, and quick to anger with them. I mean, thankfully they have Emmett as well, but Emmett is only a teenager, and so there's not a whole lot that he's going to be able to do at first, I don't think. So we'll have to see. So I am just going to go ahead and get Rayne down here to fix this toilet, because we know that she likes to repair things, but also it needs to be repaired, and then she can clean up this mess that it is making on the floor. And Rayne has just come outside to check on the boys. She has noticed that they're out here next to the pond and they're talking, and she's just come out to find out kind of what's going on. And Emmett's like, we were just, having a chat about the garden, and, Xavier was asking about, this plant, and I was explaining to him that it's a banana tree, and he didn't realize that bananas grew on trees, and I was trying to explain to him that, well, indeed they do. And she's like, oh, okay. So, as you can see, they are just out here, and she is now explaining to him about plants and how they grow, and he is, just taking it all in, and he is begging, it looks like, for some toys. Lord have mercy, child. So, he's like, come on, Mom, can't I have some new toys? And she's like, are you kidding? What, you want new toys? And she's like, don't you have enough in this house? Children and their wants and their needs, But she has gone ahead and been staring at this for so long, and she's like, Autumn, thank you so much for helping out around this garden. It really, really means a lot to me that you kids are all chipping in and helping me. You'll never understand how much it means to see you guys helping me with this garden. Like, I have planted this, and it was so great. So Emmett is in here just having a bite to eat before we get to the funeral. It is very, very close for the funeral. And he has a festering bitterness. It says he cannot stand being around someone he has a grudge against. So let's see who he has a grudge against. It looks like he has a grudge against his sister, Rhea. And what does it say about that? He has a festering grudge. It says, Emmett has a deep-seated grudge against Rhea. It's hard to forget or forgive the past, which may make being around her very unpleasant for him. I have no idea what happened between them, but like I said, Rhea treats them pretty rotten. I mean, she really does. And to be completely honest, she has been giving them a really hard time all day long about this funeral nonsense and how they should all just, want to be doing it her way. And so I could see how Emmett could be pretty upset with Rhea and how she's behaving. And to be completely honest, when things don't go her way, she has a tendency to pitch a little bit of a fit, invite her boyfriend over, and then get drunk. So I could see how he could have a little bit of a grudge against her right now. And she does treat Xavier and Tegan pretty poorly. And so Emmett is probably feeling really, really upset with her about that. And guys, it is time to start the funeral service in memory of Clay. So we have arrived here at the funeral service, and as you can see, they are all going ahead and going inside to the funeral parlor here, and everyone is really sad, as you can see, which is exactly what nobody wanted, was to be very, very sad, but it is to be expected when you go to a funeral service that you are going to be really sad. As we know, we are saying goodbye to Clay for the very last time, and we will be putting his body to rest at the burial grounds. So we are just going to go ahead and go get our seats here. Everyone is going to listen to the eulogy, and it is going to be starting very soon here. So everyone is just gathering in. Here comes the funeral director now, so our service is now beginning. So everyone take your seats, and she is just giving the service, and everyone is really torn up about the fact that we've lost Clay, and it is so, so sad. Oh, so sad to tell him goodbye for this final time. Everyone has gathered around to say goodbye to him, all of his friends and family and loved ones, and as you can see, the whole family is really sad. Emmett's flirting with somebody in the middle of this, so there's that. Oh my goodness. Emmett, what are you like? We're at a funeral service. You're not supposed to be picking someone up. Oh, goodness. We're going to have to find out who that was. We are going to go ahead and do some of these tasks here for the funeral service. We need to engrave the epitaph. We need to call the guests to the meal, and we need to console someone about the death. So we will go ahead and console about the death and call them to a meal. And we will engrave the epitaph, and we will just meet some of these goals here. And then once we have met some of these goals on our little list here for this funeral, we will go ahead and head over to the burial grounds, and we will put Clay to rest where he belongs. And she is just like consoling Emmett about the death of his father. And we're going to go ahead and just call everyone to this meal here so that everyone can go ahead and go grab themselves a plate of food. Oh, it's okay, Emmett. I know, it's so sad. It's gonna be okay. Everyone is so sad. Poor Emmett. Poor everyone. Everyone is so really sad to see him go. She's thanking the guests for coming. There's the sad music playing, and she is just like, you know, really saddened by this whole thing. Go ahead and engrave this epitaph here. Loving husband and father, you will be missed. Let me put his name on it too, though. So Clay Carver. Let me put that in the beginning. So Clay Carver, loving husband and father, you will be missed. There we go. That way we'll know who it is, because he is going into a public burial site. Alright, so everyone has been called to a meal. We're just going to go ahead and eat. And we have to mourn at his tombstone for 30 minutes. So I will just place his tombstone down so that we can do that. I just don't want to lose his tombstone, so there's that. Okay, so she is just going to go ahead and mourn him here. So she's coming on out so that we can mourn here at the tombstone. And then she needs to drink some water while she's sad. And then we should be able to get gold on this event. And then we will be able to end this event. And then we will go and we will lay Clay to rest. Alright, so we have finally gotten gold on our event. So we will go ahead and end our event here. And we will go and we will lay Clay to rest. And we have arrived at the cemetery where we will be laying Clay for his final burial. And we are just going to place his tombstone here. And so we will go ahead and we will lay it here. Right there. Go ahead and lay that there. Alright. And then, okay, instantly you can see we have an angry Clay that has popped out. Like he's pissed off that he died. Well, we're not real happy about it either, Clay. But we are going to go ahead and get the entire family over here to mourn Clay. So we'll just go ahead and queue up everyone to come over and mourn Clay. That way they can go ahead and just get that out of their system here. And this will go ahead and help with the healing process of them getting over their dad here now that they've all had the sad funeral that they've attended. And guys, I think I am actually going to go ahead and leave this episode here because this is the final saying goodbye to Clay. We have finally laid him to rest and we're allowing him to move on. We're allowing the family to heal and they are finally going to be able to now move on fully. They are finally going to be at peace now that they have mourned their dad and they have let him move on and they have put him to rest. So guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you are notified when new episodes go live on the channel. And I will see you guys in the next one. But until then, I am going to go ahead and fly for now. Bye, Ravens.